Now, why would anybody be interested in the new Black Panther movement over in Russia? Listen to the way this interview starts.
So why is Fox obsessed with a 2-year-old story? Is this a case of civil rights gone wrong, or could it all just be hype to bring down the Panthers?
I bet her parents are proud that she's working for the Pravda of today. Well, we thought that since a former Obama DOJ employee is testifying that the case against Shamir Shabazz and other Black Panther accused of voter intimidation was dropped because of race and politics, call us crazy, or maybe journalists, but we thought that was a story. Russia Today host Ann Shabazz continued.
Fox had lots of intense graphics, and they said this is powerful, explosive news. What do you make of those statements?
I make of it as just part of the right-wing paranoia and playing on racial fears, unfounded racial fears in every way. I say Fox News should be ashamed of themselves.
He makes a good case. I would think that Malik would be ashamed of his fellow new Black Panther member, Shamir Shabazz, because he used, what was the word she said? Oh, yeah, a lot of intense graphic language.
I hate white people.
Yeah.
All of them.
I believe him.
Every last iota of
All
a cracker, I hate it.
hates.
Because we're still in this condition, man. You want freedom? You're going to have to kill some crackers.
I believe him.
You're going to have to kill some of their babies. Let us get our act together.
I believe him. I believe him. Do you? Yep, someone is stirring up racial tension, but I don't think it's us. It might be that guy. The Russian media, well, they have their truth. Shabazz, he has his truth. And then there's something I like to call the actual truth. I just showed it to you. And it's interesting to note that Russia Today, you know, the state-run Russian, hey, weren't they all Marxist? And they went through a transformation of their own. And they took off their Marxist uniform and put on a tie. Wow. Almost like Van Jones. Anyway, Russia Today marked the 4th of July with an interview of the Weather Underground terrorist, Bill Ayers. The channel allowed Ayers to whitewash he and his fellow terrorist actions. Here it is.
When people got on buses and rode interstate or sat down at lunch counters or sat in at draft boards, we weren't being violent ourselves. We were exposing the violence that was inherent in the system.
Follow-up question here, you know, on whether planting bombs in the Pentagon, the Capitol building, police station, banks, inciting riots, plotting the deaths of up to 25 million Americans, whether that's terrorists. It would have been a good follow-up question, but a good thing they didn't ask it. The Russian news agency probably, you know, didn't have that information when they had this interview. They also probably didn't have, which is available on that crazy thing called the internet, an FBI informant and former Weather Underground member when he sat down and described what the Weather Underground and Bill Ayers wanted to do. Watch this.
They estimated that they would have to eliminate 25 million people.
Eliminate, that means it's not terrorist. Nope, that's genocide. Even the reaction to the Russian spy case with the Russians is perplexing. Once upon a time, you know, would have drawn serious denunciations and retaliation from the Kremlin, but they've stayed mostly in step with what White House spokesman Robert Gibbs has said about it. Basically, it's no big deal. On Russian main national state-run television channels, the spy story led the broadcast only the first day the news broke. Any impact from the scandal on U.S. relations, it just faded from the newscasts in Russia. The reports then did run an the adopted and ironic tone set by the prime minister, you know, Vladimir Putin. Spooky. He joked about all the cloak and dagger nature of the accusations in his meeting with former President Bill Clinton. Listen to Putin on the reaction, however, of the American police.
I understand that back home the police are getting out of the way of putting people in prison.
That's almost like the police acted stupidly. It's almost like they're in lockstep. Isn't that weird? Listen to our mainstream media, and you might think that all the FBI caught was, oh, I don't know, maybe a Victoria's Secret supermodel Because that's all I see is how hot that one was. Oh, that's great. Is there anything more than that? Since when do Russian news agencies side with the American administration? Not the American people. They used to tell us that the American people were good, but the administration was bad. Now the Russian agencies are telling us that the American people are bad, but the administration is good. The administration dropped the charges against the new Black Panthers. Russia Today invites the chairman of the Panthers on for a love fest. And to top it off, a Russian spy ring is broken up and there's no outrage, no tit for tat. Hey, I just had an idea. Maybe Newsweek was right all along. You remember that story? Yeah, there it is. We're all socialists now. But maybe that was a story about the global press and not us. Maybe that was a story saying, hey, members of the press, we're all socialists now. Having undergone their own, this is weird, fundamental transformation in Russia. Could it be that the Russian media and the hierarchy are now content to aid and abet, or maybe just sit back and enjoy the view as they witness our fundamental transformation?
Okay, quiz time. Do you know what the Black Robe Regiment is? Do you know the role they played in the American Revolution? Buzz. Time's up. Go to glennbeck.com/BeckU and sign up now. Take the course Faith 101. It's the summer of restoration. Don't get left behind.
I've told you before that I think Cass Sunstein is the most dangerous man in America. But tonight I'd like to introduce you to number 2. The second most dangerous man in America. His name is Don Berwick. NPR called him something of a rock star in health policy circles. That's great because he's your brand new head of Medicare and Medicaid services. Oh, Grandpa, you're going to love this. You probably haven't heard of him because, well, President Obama bypassed the Senate confirmation process and just appointed him to the post. Enough of that pesky conference there in Congress. Now, I want you to know this happens all the time. 99% of presidential appointees are, well, they go through the whole process by the Senate. But there is that wealthiest 1% like him that doesn't go through. The media is no longer interested in this story, which is strange because the media was all over the Berwick appointment when they were concerned about Berwick making it through the appointment process. It's almost like they're doing the bidding of the White House. The Washington Post called Berwick, quote, the most important healthcare reformer you've probably never heard of. There it is. It's great. Oh, boy. They said the chances that he moves smoothly through the process are next to zero. Little did they know. They got a friend in the White House. Post also reported, quote, nominee to lead Medicare Medicaid group may face tough hurdles. New York Times also reported the confirmation fight on Health Cheap. Dr. Berwick faces a long uphill struggle to win Senate confirmation. Reuters, they said he's likely to face a tough confirmation fight in the U.S. Senate. Yeah. Well, why were they so concerned? Well, maybe that he's a revolutionary. Oh boy, did I say that? I did. But so did the Boston Globe. They did a story on Berwick. They called him the revolutionary. They went on to say, the deeper Berwick has gotten into the problem over the last decade, the more radicalized he's become. His conclusion, to save the healthcare system, not Medicare and Medicaid, the healthcare system, it first needs to be blown up. How? That's like to save the free market. I've got to abandon the free market. Oh, and that one's working out well, isn't it? So not only does he want to blow up the best healthcare system in the world, not perfect, but the best in the world, his idea of a fix is to make our system just like Great Britain's healthcare system. He says he is, quote, in love with NHS. He went on to explain it's a global treasure and, quote, it's such a seductress, end quote. Hey, Don, seductress? I think of maybe Angelina Jolie. Oh, yeah. She scares me, but she's a seductress. Okay? Britain's healthcare, I'd say about as sexy as, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Not real sexy. Unless you define seductress as pregnant woman being forced to give birth in a hospital corridor. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. After being turned away from 2 other hospitals when they go into labor, like Emma Johnson at the Princess Royal Hospital. Or, if you think you're turned on by this story, think how aroused you're going to be about the story of a 22-year-old man who died of thirst at St. George's Hospital in South London after being neglected by the staff. He called for help. When emergency personnel arrived, they were told by the hospital staff that he was fine. He wasn't.